CSF rhinorrhea. Okay, CSF rhinorrhea. So what is CSF rhinorrhea? We'll break this word first. CSF is cerebrospinal fluid. All know that. Okay, the word rhino and rhea, will break it. So rhino means nose and rhea means something which is flowing or discharge, right? Something which is flowing or discharge. So flow of CSF from nose is known as CSF rhinorrhea. Okay, flow of CSF from nose is known as CSF rhinorrhea. So what is the definition? Leakage of CSF through nasal cavity. Okay. How does a CSF flow? It is usually, if you know basics, it is clear fluid, right? CSF is clear fluid. But sometimes what happens in acute injury? Suppose अभी accident हुआ है, ठीक है? और खून निकल रहा है ना? Acute injury. What will happen? Blood will be there. So this clear fluid will mix with this blood in case of acute injury. So it will not look like a clear fluid, right? Now going further, how will suppose you have a patient in your OPD and he is having CSF or nasal secretion. You don't know that, right? How will you distinguish whether it is a CSF or it is just a normal secretion? So first you will ask the patient, क्या हो गया? You will take his history, right? So he will say that he has a history of surgery or any injury. He has a history of surgery or any injury. So it will be a case of CSF. But sometimes also, if there is a tumor, it can be a CSF rhinorrhea. Now, if it is a nasal secretion, what will happen if it is a nasal secretion? If it is a nasal secretion, the patient will give you a history of sneezing, stuffiness, from many days, or injury. Right? So the patient gives you, if the patient is giving you a history of surgery, injury or tumor, it is CSF rhinorrhea. If it is giving you a history of sneezing or stiffness or any injury, it can be nasal secretion. So now what you have, the patient, if he is giving injury as a history, how will you distinguish? Injury, it can be a reason for CSF rhinorrhea as well as it can be a reason of nasal secretion. So what will you see? How does the nasal discharge is coming? Flow at from what speed it is coming. So if it is a CSF rhinorrhea, there will be droppings, not a continuous flow. In drops it will flow. Whereas if it is a nasal secretion, it will flow continuously. Right? So this is how you will distinguish. One more thing which you can ask the patient to sniff back the discharge like this. Okay? So if it is possible, if he can sneeze back, it is a nasal secretion. So sniffing back is possible if it is a nasal secretion, but if it is a CSF rhinorrhea, it is not possible. Okay? So this is how you can distinguish. Now, going further, if you ask your patient that if you cannot understand anything there, and you will ask your patient to taste his nasal secretion, and if he says that it tastes sweet, so it can be a CSF rhinorrhea. If it is salty, it is a nasal secretion. Right? This is just for fun. You should never tell your patient to taste it, but it is just a criteria to distinguish. Now, what will be the sugar content? If it is a CSF rhinorrhea, it will be more than 30 mg per deciliter. If it is a nasal secretion, it will be less than 10 mg per deciliter. Salty, how can it be more sugar? Now, one more thing. If you cannot do anything, you just take the secretion and test for beta-2 transferrin. If it is present in the CSF rhinorrhea, if it is absent, it is nasal secretion. So this is how you will distinguish the discharge from the nose of the patient, whether it is a CSF rhinorrhea or a nasal discharge. Now let's talk about the etiology. How will a patient get CSF rhinorrhea? Okay, so it can be a trauma. So trauma can be any accident. It can be any accident, or also in some surgeries you can cause CSF rhinorrhea. Surgeries like endoscopic sinus surgery. Endoscopic sinus surgery or surgery of base of skull. Alright, in these two conditions and many other etc. So in these conditions you can see CSF rhinorrhea or any tumors which are invading base of skull, right? Invading base of skull. Such tumors can also cause CSF rhinorrhea. Congenital defects, okay, like meningocele or encephalocele. They can also cause CSF rhinorrhea. Hydrocephalus or benign intracranial hypertension can also cause CSF rhinorrhea. Infections. If there is a osteomyelitis, on the base of skull, it can cause CSF rhinorrhea or idiopathic. It can be idiopathic. Okay, so now we are done with the distinguish between nasal secretion and CSF rhinorrhea. We talked about the etiology definition. You already know that. So now the site of leakage from where the CSF rhinorrhea can leak. CSF can leak. So in anterior cranial fossa, CSF comes from frontal sinus. CSF can come from frontal sinus, ethmoid sinus, and cribriform plate. Okay, so now one more thing. Okay, next is middle cranial fossa. From middle cranial fossa, CSF can leak out through sphenoid sinus. If there is a otorhinorrhea, that is sign of temporal bone fracture. Okay, once again, site of leakage. If there is this, from where the CSF will come to the nose. So if there is a leakage, if there is a fracture or leakage from the anterior cranial fossa, the CSF will drain into nose from frontal sinus, ethmoidal sinus, and cribriform plate. From middle cranial fossa, it will come through sphenoid sinus, and if there is a otorhinorrhea, there is a chance of temporal bone fracture. Now, very common question asked many times: most common site of leakage. Okay, most common site of leakage is cribriform plate. Going further, now how will you localize this site of leakage? For that, we do high resolution CT scan. Okay, high resolution CT scan can show you bony defects. Okay, shows you bony defects. Then you can do an MRI. MRI, which one? You can do T2 weighted MRI. Okay. Now, what else you can do? You can do intrathecal fluorescence study followed by CT cystogram. So this is about the site of leakage and which diagnostic tool you can use to localize it. Then going further about the complications, you can get meningitis, okay, or intracranial infections, or pneumocephalus and secondary brain compressions. Okay. Now talking about the lab test. What lab test will you do to find out CSF rhinorrhea? If you remember well, while we were distinguished between the nasal secretion and the CSF rhinorrhea, the last one which I mentioned is, if you cannot do anything, you do search for beta-2 transferrin. If it is present, it is CSF rhinorrhea. If it is absent, it is nasal secretion. So in lab test, you will get beta-2 transferrin positive. Okay. Now diagnosis. How will you diagnose this? One is the lab test. Second is the patient will come to you. So it is clinically done, the diagnosis. The patient will come to you and tell that there is a leakage, there is a dribbling from his nose in certain position when he is bending. Okay. If he is lying on his chest, during this time he is having some dribbling from his nose. So you can suspect a CSF rhinorrhea. Then you do a further investigation. What you can see is, if you remember, I told you CSF is a clear fluid, but if it is acute injury, okay, so the blood is mixed with the fluid, and at that time you can see a double target sign, double ring sign or a target sign. If you know, if you see, if you have ever done rifle shooting or something, you know that there is a target in front of you, okay, and that target is somewhat looks like this. In the center you have that bullseye, okay, so this is somewhat looking like that target. So that's why known as target sign. If there is an acute injury, okay, the CSF will mix with the blood and look somewhat like this, like a target, or you can call it as a double ring. Okay, so this is seen in CSF triangle. What else you can do? You can do a nasal endoscopy to find out the site of leakage. Okay, you can put an endoscope in the nose and you can find the site of leakage. What else you can do? There is a reservoir sign present. Okay, that is a gush of blood. Gush of blood will come out. Gush of blood will come out in certain position of the head, which I told you initially. Okay, but that is seen in acute injury. Going further, talking about the treatment. What you can do for the treatment of CSF rhinorrhea? You can give acetazolamide, 250 mg, 3 times a day. Why are you giving acetazolamide? To decrease the intracranial tension. Then you can do lumbar puncture. Lumbar puncture can be done. You can give antibiotics, prophylactic. Why are you giving antibiotics? To prevent meningitis. I told you that meningitis is a complication, so you can give antibiotics for it. If the rhinorrhea persists, you can go for surgery. Okay, what you will do? You will repair the dural defect. You will repair the dural defect. Wherever there is a leak, you will try to repair it. Also, you can do shunting. Shunting is also preferred in some cases. Okay, so that is all about CSF rhinorrhea. CSF rhinorrhea, very common topic in most of the entrance exams for ENT. You will get a crystal clear typical case of a road traffic accident. Patient comes to you with a dribbling of clear fluid from his nose. After 2 days, okay, he'll tell you history of road RTA 2 days ago, and now he's having leakage. This is one thing. Or else he can come to you with this double target sign, okay, in acute injury. That is, his fluid is mixed with the blood. Most common site of leakage will be cribriform plate, fracture of the cribriform plate, and this was all about CSF rhinorrhea. Don't forget beta transferrin is positive in CSF. That is why it is seen in the case of CSF rhinorrhea. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you liked it. Please like, share and subscribe my channel, Pretty Simplified. Thank you.